this, and we'll share it afterwards with any folks on it. If you've got any questions while we go through as well, feel free to use the chat feature and ask your questions in there, and we'll try and pick them up as we're going, or a colleague will answer them while we're going through. So yeah, hi, I'm Ben Unsworth, Head of Digital at the Council. This is, as you can see on the slides, show and tell number 15 from the team, live edits, from the team designing and building a website for the new council, and with that, a lot of the kind of digital services that people access through the web. So I've been away for the last couple of weeks on paternity leave, so I'm not going to talk for too long because I have no idea what everyone's been up to. So I'm looking forward to hearing this one as well. Show and tells are how we share progress. So this is progress over the last 3 weeks for this project. So a chance to kind of share and talk about what we've been doing, what we've been thinking, why we've been doing it, and a chance to get feedback from yourselves as well. So we genuinely value the kind of comments and questions, so don't be shy. Sorry as well, we've got kids in the background. Right, so the approach to the project, lots of you will be familiar with this. We've been taking a broadly kind of agile and user-centered approach, which means we do lots of research with people who use the website. We observe how they interact with things, we talk to them, we interview them, we try to really understand their perspective and their experiences, and we use those to redesign and retest and keep learning all of the time. So a big focus on this is putting things in front of people and learning and really listening and observing how they do things. So the project, as I say, was about building a new website for the new council, and that includes lots of other bits and pieces that go along with it. So that's how we publish things in a content management system, how we design everything from headers to drop-down menus to buttons that you click on. All of that is quite thoughtfully put together. And then how we think about what we publish, if we publish it at all, and when we do, kind of how we write, what types of images we use, what types of video we might use. All of the content that makes up a lot of our digital services is all designed by this team as well. You can see the bit that's greyed out there. That was our kind of hitting vesting day back in April objective. We're still in the process of working through the right way to describe the kind of ongoing work over the next 18 months or so. Something that is a bit more forward looking, a bit more longer term, and talks a lot more about how we deliver great services to our residents. So we will be updating that in the coming weeks. I'm going to hand over to Boris initially, and other colleagues who are now going to kind of talk about and share the work that's happened over the last few weeks.
Thank you, Ben. And let's talk about the last 3 weeks then. A lot of this stuff that we've been working on, if you look at the right side of the screen, is really about still fixing some of the things or updating some of the things that we have been working on even before then. So, you know, there is a lot of ongoing work around things like the coronavirus pages. There have been a lot of styling fixes, like quite small changes, tweaks to make things look just a little bit better. There have been a lot of accessibility fixes, so we were very committed to making sure that all of our pages are done in an accessible way, so they work with various screen readers and, you know, other kind of types of software that help with those things. We have still done some fixes on the job sites, on the recruitment sites, which is pretty much done now, but, you know, just still some ongoing support, as well as the contacts and complaints forms, which are still being developed. So this is kind of the ongoing work, but we have also started working on some new work streams. So, for example, one of the things that we're working on right now is the policy and strategy pages. So how can we publish policies and strategies as HTML pages rather than PDFs? We have been working a lot around improving the way we get data from visitors. So we've been working on analytics and setting up the cookies that we need for that, and also updating the cookies pages. And we have also started quite a lot of work with the family information services, because there is a lot of overlap with some content that has already been on their pages and the content that might be on our new website. So we're kind of looking into how to streamline that and make it work more seamlessly. And there is also another upcoming work stream, which we'll talk about a bit later, which is about the CRM and the resident data and how we provide better data to the people that interact with the residents. So that's something we're quite looking forward to. Now, to go into a bit more detail into about some of these work streams, let's look at the policy and strategy pages first. So over the last few weeks, we've had some catch-ups with the policy team, and one of the things we've decided is that we're going to start working on the taxi licensing policy first. We realized that that's quite a good document to start working on for a number of reasons. First, because it's currently being rewritten. So, previously there were separate documents on different district council websites, but now it's being rewritten as a unitary document. So it's quite a good time to get involved. Also, the use case for this particular document is really good for us if we want to put stuff on the web, because it's a living and breathing document that really keeps being used quite regularly by the users. And also the users that, so the taxi drivers or potential taxi drivers do a lot of their work on mobile phones. So they're quite eager to have something that works quite well on mobile phones. So we want to really make sure that, putting stuff on the web enables them to access this content a bit more easily. Another thing that's going to be quite interesting is that for a lot of the users, English is not necessarily the first language. So that means the document needs to be written in a way that's easy to understand. Now, that's quite difficult in this particular case because it's a very technical document. So there's a lot of technical terminology that might not be as easy to understand. So how can we write this in a way that makes it very easy to interpret? To just illustrate some of the points I made, so we are definitely committed to developing something that's mobile friendly, right? So instead of having PDFs that on mobile phones are quite difficult to look at because you constantly need to zoom in and out, we really want to make something that's quite easy to scroll through and still read, and just quite easy to navigate on a mobile phone as well. The other thing we're also very committed to is thinking about how we can change the entire approach of publishing policies online and then downloading the PDF versions of them. So right now, for example, what happens quite often is that someone starts writing a policy as a Word document, which eventually, after all the drafts and all the process of approval, then gets transformed into a PDF and uploaded on the website. Now, that can sometimes be a problem because that means there's a lot of different versions of these PDF documents lying around, and people don't always know which one to refer to. So one of the things we would like to do is, instead of converting the Word document to PDF and then uploading to the website, we want to change it around and basically import this Word document onto the website, and then the web version would serve as the main version for reference. So anything that gets done after that basically gets updated on that particular version, and all the documents refer to that version as the main version, right? So we have a centralized way of knowing what's the current version, and it might be easier to just keep the latest version of a document in one place. So that's something we're currently exploring with the policy team in terms of how this approach might work. Now on to a slightly different work stream, something that we've been doing over the last week or so. We've done some improvements we've designed some improvements to the search on our website. In particular, what happens when users search for something that doesn't give any results. We've realized that happens in some cases. So let me just show what we've done. So we've put together a short test to improve that experience, and I just wanted to show you what it looked like. So if I go to the demo, so we've shared this page, which is like a user testing page with the residents, ask them to start testing, and this is all on the live website. So when they press start testing, we have now a way of displaying a message on top that says that the testing is in progress, and they can then stop testing or revisit the instructions. And what's great about this is that while this is happening, this session is now being recorded on a platform called Hotjar, which we can later retrace and see what they were doing. So in this particular test, they were asked to search for abandoned vehicles, for reporting abandoned vehicles, with a particular reason, because this currently doesn't produce any viable results on the website. and we wanted to see what they would think about the suggestions below when there are no results. So we changed this text. Is not currently on the main website, but in this particular testing session, it appears like this. So we're just saying that maybe they can check their spelling, use fewer keywords, etc. And also we provided a link where they can check if this result would appear on other Buckinghamshire Council websites. So we're thinking about, some of the content is still on the County Council website, for example, or there are still the legacy websites for the district councils as well. So if I click on this, it basically takes me to Google and does a customized search across these websites for this particular keyword. Now, we didn't want to just put that on the live version, so we said, let's try and test this and see how people would react to that. And then at the end, they come here and then stop testing, and they get taken to a form where they just provide some answers. So this was the testing that we've done, and I just want to share some of the learnings that we've gathered over the last few days from this testing. So first of all, we see that quite many of our users have had poor experiences before while trying to find things, and that's partly because the search is quite new. It's still not smart enough to distinguish all the differences. For example, when you write pothole as two separate words versus pothole as one word. So quite often, and then spelling differences, right, it means that quite often people end up without results. So doing something about that is clearly valuable. With regards to the particular things that we were showing them, they were saying that the Google search itself that we suggested was actually quite helpful, but at the same time they don't feel that they should have done a Google search to find something on our website. So it's kind of an interesting conundrum there, because you have Google, which produces good results, but actually they do want to use our own search for that. And they also were quite confused by the mention of the words other Buckinghamshire Council websites. They thought that, since now it's a unitary authority, putting those words together is just confusing, even though Buckinghamshire Council or even the County Council has previously had a lot of different websites, right? So there are a lot of microsites, like, I don't know, even the Family Information Services, for example, is a separate website. All of those websites are separate websites, and the search doesn't work across all of them. But still, when you try to explain that, it's quite difficult. And when you say that there are other Buckinghamshire Council websites, people don't find it very intuitive. So those are some learnings, and we need to now, decide what to do with all of that. Another thing that we set up over the last few weeks is trying to improve the way we record more of the quantitative information about the visits. With regards to the topic I was just talking about, for example, we are now able to track every time when someone searches for something that produces no results, we can see all those keywords that led to such a search. So this means that over the next few weeks we can start improving how that works and start making sure that more of those keywords get captured by our search. So this is going to be really, really valuable in terms of improving that experience. So rather than having to suggest a Google search, we're now going to be able to improve our actual search. There are some other things that we set up that we can now track more easily. So for example, when do users get stuck on a page and then have to backtrack their steps? So when do they get stuck without finding an answer, for example? We also can track when they leave the main website to visit particular legacy websites or local area pages, for example, and this is going to help us a lot to identify which of those pages, what content we need to transfer to the main website first, right? So how to prioritize the next content migration steps. And as you've seen, we can now quite easily set up ad hoc user testing sessions, like the thing I just showed you, where you get that bar on top. We have also set up Site Improve, which is yet another product. It also allows us to see certain things about the website. In particular, it's quite good at tracking potential accessibility issues. So it gives you like a kind of dashboard with all the things you might want to look into and potentially improve. It's quite good with quality assurance tasks. So, for example, it checks for links that don't lead anywhere or that are not working properly. It also gives some SEO guidance and some other things. So, these are the two platforms that we've started using now on the new website as well. And right now, I'm going to pass over to Nick, who's going to explain a bit more about some other improvements we've been doing on the website. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen.
Thanks, Boris. Let's see if I can manage to take over. You see the screen there?
I do.
Great. Okay. So yeah, there's been no major sort of headline features in the last sprint, the last 3 weeks, but we've had lots of small things, lots of behind the scenes changes as well. We've improved our internal documentation to help developers get set up on the project. We've installed new versions of the underlying web framework we're using that gives us some security improvements. We've fixed things that are hard to demonstrate, such as the text in emails when you subscribe for a job alert, and you get some new jobs that match that. Everything, nice quality improvements, but I can't really demonstrate those here. There's a few things that are, again, small but very quick and easy to show you. We've improved the presentation of the number that you get given when you submit one of the forms that I demonstrated a few weeks ago. One of the GDS, the Government Design System ideas, is that you would, in the breadcrumbs for a page, not feature the particular page that you're on. So here's a page on our live website which shows the business rates and grants as part of the breadcrumbs and immediately repeated below it the title. And our new version of that page has it missing. You can see it again. Here's a job result where customer service advisors in the breadcrumbs and then not. So that is more adherent to the GDS guidelines. We've also all around the job site made sure that this header now stays consistent. If I show you the home page for the live job site, this is a change that has been deployed. We get the jobs and careers just stick in there so that you always know, no matter if it's a page like an information page like this that is a feature both on the main council website and the job site, you now stick to having this same content in the header so that you know where you're coming from. With the job search, we've improved this salary range thing here, a small improvement because it was previously driven by these particular salary brackets, which are kind of government, local authority salaries and teaching salaries that are very prescribed brackets that change every few years. And now we've made them much more user-friendly and easy to recognise. People don't want to know that they're searching for £28,364 jobs. If you go to apply for a job, we noticed in our error tracking that on the application page, we were getting a few logged errors of people trying to search for something with this character, like it's an attempt at exploiting a flaw in the website's database and trying to inject some SQL up here. The character that causes a problem was that just a quote, and previously we were generating a server error. We weren't susceptible to this particular security attack, but it was causing issues in our logs, so we fixed that. You now get a not found error. And in particular, that was our not found on the live site. If I go to the staging site and show the exact same issue, we've also had a feature where we've made the 404 page a lot more attractive, and this is now content editable. So we've inserted links to send people to the search page if they end up here by some other means rather than the bit more stark page we had before. The main feature that is something new that we've deployed in the past week is this design pattern. It's familiar from all over the web. We've implemented it according to the GDS version of it, which is an accordion that expands like this. GDS themselves say that this is an experimental feature and deploying it should be done sparingly and where we know that it's tested and has benefit. We've got it in use at the moment on the live site on this this one page only, as I believe, and it's particularly well suited to FAQs because people want to be able to browse quickly and get an overview of where the question is that they're looking for. Here's a demo version of this, and once you've added a page with this accordion, if I can manage to find my editor, I can go and change this page. It's pretty straightforward for people to use. I can go and add at the bottom, either add more content to this particular accordion block. I can add a new accordion expandy thing. Oh, there you go, a third option. And almost all of the same content that can be put into the main content of the body of a page can be put here as well. So I can put a YouTube video, and I can have headings, or I could just add more content on the page below the accordion. And then the whole thing just displays like that. So it's fairly easy. Oh, double clicking too much. The one thing we can't have inside an accordion, if I show you the options, is that you can see here on the main page I can add an accordion, but just so we don't get a little bit too self-referential and Christopher Nolan-esque, there's no accordion block within an accordion. Probably much to the disappointment of some of the audience, I hope. And that's me. I think the next person going to be speaking is Mike.
Yeah, I think I'll share the screen again, Mike, right?
Perfect. Thanks, Boris.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Hi, I'm Mike Muris. Just going to talk fairly briefly about the Family Information Service. If you can go on to the next slide, please, Boris. Thank you. The Family Information Service website, as opposed to the service itself, it's got two main components, really, which are the directory and the content. There's another project which has been rebuilding the directory. It's looking fantastic, but in the scope of this project, we're now looking at migrating the content pages from the Family Information Service over to our main website. A lot of work has already been done on this, and it's especially customer research, talking to parents, talking to young people, and obviously not very easy during lockdown. Some was done just before it, but there have been some things which have been put together, such as information architecture principles, and there's a new template which is just being finalized at the moment. And we're now getting to the point where we want to start looking to actually moving content from the Family Information Service onto our main website. It's a large site, as it says here. It's larger than the old county site, but the majority of those are the directory pages. If you could go on to the next slide, please, Boris. As you can see from this, a lot of the content on the Family Information Service complements content that we've already got on our main site, and I think it's going to be a huge benefit to users and to both websites as well to put the content together so that things can easily be found whichever route you take to get in. As Boris was saying earlier, it can be confusing for users to be told that content is available from us but on a different website. So there'll need to be a lot of work to make sure that it suits the users and that it works as well as it possibly can. But I think it will make a lot of the really useful information that's available at the moment on the Family Information Service a lot more prominent and a lot more visible and easier to get to. If you could go on to I think that's it for the slides. So just quickly before I pass back, the next steps for the Family Information Service, we're working very closely with the FIS team, and they are looking at the content itself, and we'll be working with them to rewrite the content and to make sure that the architecture suits the existing site as well as it possibly can. So thank you very much, and I'll pass over back to Boris.
Thank you, Mike. So for the next steps, where do we go from here? I think we're all very excited now that Ben is back on the project, because that means we can start thinking about the future again and what direction the project is taking. So we are definitely planning to have a session quite soon, where we're going to try to set our objectives for the next 6 months or so a bit more clearly. So that's to be confirmed. Watch this space. In the meantime, there are a few things that we're already working on, or we are just kind of embarking on, that are definitely on that roadmap. So as I said, there is a workshop upcoming where we're going to update the vision and the roadmap. We're also starting to talk about fixed penalty notices for flight tipping. There are additional accessibility improvements. There is additional work on the family information service content. I mentioned already a discovery into the CRM, my account, the citizen index. So how does that all connect together? How do we get better data about the citizen, about our residents? We are going to continue doing research as we always do, and we are going to continue managing and migrating content from the old websites. And the next show and tell will be on the 2nd of July. Ben, did you want to add anything at the end of this?
No, that was great. Thank you so much, everybody. I think the very last slide just says questions. I mean, we've literally got maybe 3 minutes, but if anyone's got any kind of questions they wanted to ask while the team are here, now is your chance. I think that's a no. Super. Well, we really appreciate you jumping on and listening to us. So thank you, and we will see you in July. Oh, something just popped up in the chat. Oh, it was a thank you. Thank you. Cool. Okay, we'll see you soon, everyone.